On this episode of the Palm Beach Current, I'm joined by Vince Matani, leadership coach and owner of Jupiter Coffee, to talk about how to be your best and make the world better than it was yesterday. On this episode of the Palm Beach Current, I am joined by none other than Vince Matani, local, man, we've got a lot of titles for you, Vince. He's a coach extraordinaire. He has Jupiter Coffee. We're going to dive into all of these things. But for those who haven't met you yet, who is Vince beyond the titles? Give us a little bit of background.
Beyond the titles. Man, I just love being people's friends. I just love being a friend to everybody. Even beyond that, though, I get the wonderful opportunity to be married to my wife and best friend. We were high school sweethearts and then got married in college. We've been married for 20 and a half years now. So I get to be husband, and then we have two wonderful kids. They're both teens. So we're in a whole new era of our parenting, and we love it. It's so fun. Daughter's almost 16, son just turned 13. And, I do miss baby stage, toddler stage, but there is a newfound freedom and fun with parenting teenagers. It's a blast.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, my kids are 11 and 8, so I'm right around the corner from there. That's amazing. So we're going to get a lot of good stuff from you. What first brought you here, Vince? I mean, before we talk about what you do professionally, I mean, what brought you to the Palm Beach area and Jupiter in particular?
It's such a cool story. So if I may indulge, I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, and big St. Louis Cardinals fan. So that's the baseball team. If somebody doesn't follow sports, and then if you do follow sports or you know Jupiter, the Cardinals have spring training there at Roger Dean Stadium in Abacoa. And so I started growing. Well, I started coming down here when I was about 16, and my dad would take us for like spring break, and we would come and watch baseball, and we'd come golf. And I tell you, like, when I say I was compelled to move here at a very young age, like there was something internally that was like, I have to be here. And I was 16. To date myself, that was in 2002. And the story is when my first time here, and I know you'll know this, Chris, but some listeners, I hope they remember, but disposable cameras. I went out to the pier in Juneau, and I was looking at the shoreline, and I took a picture of the shoreline with my little disposable camera and went back home, got it developed like you would. You'd go to the grocery stores. Our grocery store had the camera place where you can develop it. We did that. I got it developed. And on the back of the photo, I wrote, "One day I'll live here." And I dated it. And it was March, 20 something, 2002. Fast forward, I was a big believer in journaling before that was really a huge thing. And so I used to write down all my goals, even when I was a kid. My main goals were I wanted to find I'm very goal oriented, but I wanted to find my wife at a young age. I wanted to be married young. I wanted to be a dad by the age of 25. I wanted another kid by about 27 or 28, and I wanted to live in Jupiter. Those were my 3 to 4 biggest things. And I'm here to I hand on the Bible. Married my wife in college. My daughter, when she was born, I was 25. I was 27 when my son was born. And then we moved down here in July of 2023. So it's just been incredible to see how things play out and work. And I couldn't write the script myself, but it's been a blast.
Unbelievable. So it all started on a picture that you got developed from a disposable camera in 2002. Right?
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, I think there's a lot of power in that, right? I mean, a lot of times if you have thoughts of things that you'd like to do, if you actually say them out loud and write them down, they're more likely to become true, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's one of those things you could say for years, I'm going to learn Spanish. But if you go ahead and write it down in English or Spanish, and then just go ahead and do it, you do it, right? That's incredible. So I think that's a perfect lead in, Vince. What is it that you do on the coaching side now? Because I think, for people that are listening to this or watching this on YouTube, they're going to see this is a guy that I think, like you said, you want to be friends with, you want to work with, you want to talk to. So what is it that you're doing on the coaching side.
Yeah. I appreciate those words too, by the way. So coaching, as we all know, it's I still I almost resist that word in a way because it's so watered down and it's so everywhere. But I played sports my whole life at a high level, and I, even PGA guys, they still have coaches, and it's somebody who can see things from a different angle than what you're seeing them at, who's been a little bit further down the road than you or been there, done that, and they're just helping you see things from a different lens to go, is what you're thinking about, is what you're seeing, is what you're doing. A, is it accurate in general? B, is it helping and serving you in the goals you want? And then C, like, are you doing what you're supposed to do? Is this your purpose? Is this how you're supposed to love your family or run the business or be a leader? Like, whatever it is, I just help walk with people on their journey to wherever they're headed. And a lot of that entails men, dads, husbands, business owners. I have 15 years of entrepreneur experience. And so obviously that experience lends itself very well to people who are starting a business or maybe a couple years in. But I'm a firm believer that we all need someone in our corner, just like Rocky had Mickey in his corner. Like, life's gonna hit you hard, and it's really important, especially for men and dads, that they know, hey, I got Vince in my corner, and when it's all hitting the fan, I got somebody I can call, and I got somebody who can just keep me focused and moving forward versus getting stuck and drifting down the path of who knows where.
So if you're working with, say, entrepreneurs, different types of leaders, executives, just normal everyday people, right? Because I think in the world of coaching, and we've talked about this before, but in the world of coaching, the big titles get the names and the lights, right? Like, oh, I worked with the CEO and I worked with a guy that plays for the Chicago White Sox. Or take me through like just let's just call normal people, right? You work up the road at Florida Power and Light,
Yeah,
or you work at a accounting firm in Jupiter, right? And you decide, you know what, I've got a lot of different things going on in my life. I'd love to talk to somebody like Vince to kind of get that straightened out. I Two questions here. One, let's talk about the differences between coaching and say therapy.
yeah.
And then what do you think is the biggest challenge you see in the clients you have? What's the common denominator that people are facing today?
Yeah. So and I wrote this down because I have ADD, so I might go that way and I need to stay focused. Okay. So, um, coaching versus therapy. Look, big believer in therapy too. Two thoughts immediately came to mind. One, therapy is great to begin to go in the past and uncover and go, okay, I see why I'm hurt now and I'm operating out of a place of maybe unhealth mentally, emotionally, in relationships. And that is great and well needed. And I think everybody should do it. My my challenge with my story was when it was the hardest for me, which is we're hitting the anniversary of it being a decade ago. I ran circles around my counselor because again, ADD brain, entrepreneur, and he just couldn't. He was like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you about how to manage this one employee and then how to deal with the pressure of being a young dad and a husband." And I realize in coaching it's going, hey, this is the your current challenge, let's move forward to fix it. And I think for most high achievers and high performers and really men, we want to just figure out, tell me what's wrong, give me the plan, and then let's go fix it. And I think part of it, again, counseling is great and it has its own need for everybody, but if we just spend all of our time looking in the rearview mirror, we're never going to go forward. And our windshields are really big. The rearview mirror is really small on purpose. So while it's good to go back, I'm more focused on, all right, let's just assess where you're at, make changes, and move forward. That to me is the coaching side. And I have one of my famous sayings. I'm full of like dadisms now, right? But one of my favorite isms is you don't know your own label when you're inside of the bottle. And I think the majority of people forget who they are, forget the power that they have, forget the creativity they have, forget their own purpose, and they just are stuck. And sometimes we got to pull them out of that element and go, look how awesome you actually are. Look at all the things you're doing. Now let's go do more of it. And again, it's the guy in your corner going, "Hey, you got this. Chris, when life knocks you down, I'm going to help you pick yourself back up. Because really, if you're doing the right stuff, life's going to knock you down. If someone's listening and they're like, man, my life's pretty easy, I haven't been knocked down, I would really encourage you, go do something brave and daring so that you do get knocked down. And you need a coach. So the challenges I'm seeing right now, especially again, you said just the average person, not average, but the guy that's working at FPL and he's got a family and he's living in Jupiter. Um, everybody around here, we're so um I'm at a loss for words. Just the status, right? We're so driven by things and possessions. And so they go work and they're working 40, 50 hours a week. Their boss is putting pressure on them. Their spouses, they might have putting pressure on them because they want to go get their nails done every week, or they want this or they want that. And kids need to go to private school. They want the cars, they want the boats, they want the vacations. And there's just an immense amount of pressure right now on dads that I think probably surpasses any other era that we've lived in. And it's, keeping up with the Joneses again, where we live in Jupiter and Palm Beach greater. There's a lot of Joneses and it's a lot to keep up with and you can lose yourself. What we're seeing too, statistically, is the midlife crisis range back when you and I were kids was about 48 to 55. Now, statistically, we're seeing that at about 40 to 45, if not even sooner. And now leading research is showing that there's actually about 3 crises men will hit. And it's in their mid 30s, mid 40s, and then in their 60s. And so the guy working at FPL or the guy working at a, law firm or financial firm, wherever, they're about 35. There's that little voice going, is this what my life has become? Because all I'm doing is working and I don't have freedom. I might make good money, but I'm still not happy. And that's the type of guy that when we sit down, it's like, hey, let's put the money aside. What is it you really want? Like, what's that thing inside that's burning, going, I gotta go. I gotta go do something with my life. And they're just
Yeah,
not.
no, Vince, I think you painted the picture perfectly. And I think you identified that group of demographic because I fit right in there. And I know I'll speak for myself. I mean, there are different seminal moments that happen in your life where you say, is this what I'm really meant to do? Right.
Mm,
And I think when you're a kid, like the teenage years into your 20s, you feel invincible. You feel life is going to go on forever. If you want to change a direction, you could do it and it's not a problem. You could do anything you want, right? You feel good, you look good, everything seems to just work. And you spent all that time growing up from a kid and you feel like you've arrived.
yeah.
And I would challenge a little bit in that 30s, 40s, and 60s. I think you go through a bit of a crisis now in your 20s
I
because
think
you
so.
think, is this what I'm supposed to do? I mean, listen, not everybody did the Vince plan where you took the picture and said, I'm going to have 2 kids, be married, and be living in
Yeah.
Jupiter, right? I mean, I think some people, there's a lot of athletes that live here in this area, right? They have their names in lights. They're big football players, golfers, tennis players, soccer players,
Mhm.
and they think that's going to go on forever. And then it doesn't. And then they say, what now, right? And
Yeah.
so even if you're not a big athlete, maybe you were academically always at the top of your class and you come all the way up, you go to a great college, you get that first job, and then you say, wait a second, this is it? Like, this is what I did all this work for. And everything just kind of stops, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating to talk about that. I also took away from what you just said the people that haven't gone through anything and they're like, oh, my life is actually pretty good, right? I just read something recently about that where this is actually kind of a random story too. I got a newsletter randomly in my email. 99.99999% of the time, I just hit delete and
Hmm.
unsubscribe because it's stuff that I don't need or I don't want or I don't know how I got it. And I got this email, I got this newsletter, and this guy, I don't know who he is, but he sends me the most interesting things. And one of the things that he sent me was exactly that. If you're in a place where your mind isn't working uh, in a constructive way, he recommends go learn an instrument, do something that makes you completely uncomfortable. And in
Yeah.
his case, it was woodworking. He didn't even know like a crescent wrench from a socket wrench. And he's like, I am completely illiterate when it comes to tools, but I dug in and I made a bird feeder. And then that bird feeder was horrible. and he took his time and he learned and he did it again and it was amazing, right?
Yeah.
So I really liked that. And I like what you're saying too about not everything has to be a crisis or a problem. How can I look at things a little bit differently? I look at it as a season to kind of shed your skin and go into a new phase of your life in a healthier way. I
Yeah.
think as you look at all these different things. Um, in terms of, I hear about this a lot too, and I'm curious to get your take on this. Purpose and success, right? Two very hot button words right now. You hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of successful people in Palm Beach County. Everybody is trying to squeeze that orange so tight to get every drop of juice out of it. What can I drive? Where can I live? Where can I go on vacation? What clothes am I going to buy? Right? Like, you hate to make it all status driven, but it is the reality of where we live, right? I mean, that
Right.
that is just it. So some people could perceive that to be success. But I'm more interested in your take on purpose.
Yeah.
What do you think of the differences or how they correlate, and what does that look like to you?
Yeah. We could go 80 different ways and talk for all day on this. So I think one, we got to redefine what success is. And for me, success is not money. It's not the house. It's not the car. Those are great things to have. Like them. Trust me. You need them. I'm My desktop is just a collage of different photos over the last, I'm looking at it right now, probably 4 months of just me and my kids in different moments. Some of them on a vacation, some were playing cornhole, some were just over at the beach, and I realized that's success. It's being the dad that my kids need, being the man that my wife needs in order to provide a safe environment at home, emotional, mental stability, to have fun in life, and to impact and lead other people. That's my definition of success. So when I wake up, that's my mission. One, how do I love my wife incredibly well and better than I did yesterday? How do I guide and love my kids? My daughter, who's, again, she's the oldest. She's a daddy's girl and she's a lot like me. How do I take that drive that is in her and cultivate it and use it to go do amazing things and be the example of what it means to be a man so that when she starts dating and is looking for somebody, that bar is so high. And then for my son who's 13, we're entering into manhood, right? This is how you be a man. This is how you treat people. This is how you act and you conduct yourself. Um, if I can do those three things consistently, that's success. Everything else will come. And so I think to answer your question, we got to go back and go, well, what is success? And if it really is, well, I want to make $10 million dollars a year and I want to have 4 different cars and I want to have 3 houses and the country club and great. But if you only are focusing on those material things when you get them, it's a fossil. It's going, oh, that was cool. But now this guy's got a Maserati's going to come out again, or whatever car is your choice, Aston Martin, whatever. There's going to be another one in 6 months. So are you going to be happy with that brand new car in 6 months? Probably not,
Right.
unless you focus your attention on, okay, what's going to make a huge impact in the people around me? That is purpose. Now, the way we do those things, those are the titles, right? Well, I might be a CPA or a podcast host or a coach or entrepreneur. Those are just titles that can come and go. And if we place all of our eggs in a basket on a title, the minute that's gone from us, like you said, an athlete, if we are identifying as athletes and say, I'm a baseball player, when you're no longer a baseball player, who are you? And we get lost in titles versus an actual identity and purpose.
No, it's beautiful. And I think you're exactly right. I mean, I've gone through this in my life where I've been a vice president of a company, and essentially through osmosis, that tends to become your identity if you let
Hmm.
it. If you allow that to be your identity, you wake up every day, you have meetings all day, you're traveling for business travel, you're in a boardroom, you're in some type of presentation. And when you go out and meet people for the first time, what do? Oh, I'm the VP of this company. You don't lead with who you actually are, right? So, and I think that's uncomfortable for people, Vince, right? We
Oh,
become the
yeah.
identity of what we do, and that is something that I think anybody would have to work on.
A couple years ago, this is, and I should say more than a couple, this is before the pandemic. But time warp in the pandemic is weird. And in St. Louis, where we lived at the time, like it was a real deal. So time really stood still for a while. Anyway, I would go to all these events and people are like, oh, hey, my name's Bill. I do this. What's your name? And everybody's asking, like, what's your name? What do you do? And I was so sick of that question. And again, because what I do, it's not just I do this and it makes sense. It's like a story. And if you're at a networking meeting, you don't have time for a story. And I like to kind of stir the pot a little bit. And so I would lead in. Oh, my name's Vince. I'm a husband and father, and I golf every once in a while, and I just go and have fun. And people go, well, like, no, but like, what do you do? I'm like, no, that's what I do. Like, that's actually what I focus on. And they're like, well, what about work? And then that's the opportunity. Now they're hooked. And then I get to share the story. But yes, I'm so over, like, I do not subscribe to hustle and grind culture. I hate it. I lived that life, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, never going back. And I'm more interested in let's go slower, do things on purpose, intentionally, consistently, and just try to make the biggest impact on everybody you meet. If I do that, everybody wins.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So take me through, if I'm a guy that's out there in what you just described, and I want to work with you from a coaching perspective. Take me through what that looks like.
I have learned the art of asking questions. As you know, as a podcast host, you sent me some questions beforehand. Fantastic. Um, one of the first questions I love to ask people is right now, if you just pushed pause on your life and zoom out 3 clicks. So think of the map, you're really focused. You go 3 clicks out, you see a lot. Let's just look at life. And what is the heaviest? What is the pressure? What is the thing that's kind of stirring in you? What's keeping you up at night? What feels heavy? And what are you carrying that most people would never see? And then we break that down into family life, your physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, your fun and enjoyment. Let's just assess everything. And we all have the proverbial, junk drawer in our kitchen. Sometimes you got to take that junk drawer out, throw everything on the counter, and start sorting through it, because it becomes a drawer of junk. And you'd be surprised what's in there. And we do that with our mind and with our life. We throw it all out. We say, let's just take a look. Let's reorganize. The next question I also like asking right away is, hey, if nothing changed in the next 6 to 12 months, what most concerns you about your life? And a lot of people go, oh man, I need this. And again, it gets them thinking in ways that they normally don't think in, because we're just people of pattern and habit. So we just cycle through the same thing every day, and we essentially walk around to sleep. And so I just start asking questions and start poking holes in their current narratives. And really my goal is just every time we talk, just to shift their perspective 1%. Because if you think of a cruise ship, they can't turn on a dime. But a 1 degree change over the course of time is a massive difference. I mean, it's a whole different country at the end of the day, right? So with our brains and how we think, I just want to help people change perspective 1% at a time, so that they can get to where they're supposed to be going. In that, we uncover habits, patterns, thought patterns. Maybe if it's an entrepreneur or business owner, it's like, hey, you're in the weeds too much as a business owner. You need to be flying high as a visionary. You got to hire some people, or you need to change structure so that you're not in the day to day, but you can rise above and actually lead. And I believe everybody's a leader. A lot of times we think leader, we think business owner, entrepreneur. Chris, I believe everybody's a leader. You lead yourself first and foremost. So we're all leaders. And really, so then my thing is, how do I make you a better leader, not only for yourself, but your family, your neighbors, your community, the people at Publix or Whole Foods? You have the opportunity each and every day to get up and make a difference in someone's life. That's leadership. And so we look through everything and go, how can we just get you living better?
And how do people, if they want to get in touch with you about a consultation to potentially work with you as their coach, how do they get in touch with you for that?
All right. If you don't have a pen and paper on you and you're listening, press pause, go get pen and paper. I'm going to give you my phone number. I give my phone number out all the time. And people go, really? Yeah. We're here to be accessible, right? Not hide behind some contact form. So the phone number is, and I still got a St. Louis area code. That's the one thing I'm holding on to. But it's area code 314 478-6888. And all you have to do is shoot me a text. I go, hey man, heard the podcast. I'd love to talk. You would be surprised. It's, when you go to the gym, the heaviest weight at the gym is the front door. Right? The hardest thing for men to do is reach out. And so that's my encouragement. If you're hearing this and you're saying, man, he gets me, I need to talk to this guy, do the hardest thing you will do, which is send that stranger a text message.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
text
how we get
Vince.
home.
I mean, he's ready to take your message and get back to you.
Yeah.
I want to pivot here because you're a man of many talents, right? So you have the coaching side of you, but then you also have Jupiter Coffee. So tell me about Jupiter Coffee and how that came about.
Again, everything's got a story, and I'm a storyteller. My family and I, multiple times throughout our marriage, had the opportunity to move down here, and just it wasn't the right time for whatever reason. As we are deliberately trying to plan, how do we make the move? How do we do this? Is this what the Lord wants for us to do? We are people of faith, so is this the right thing? As we're praying and we're trying to figure it out, we had the opportunity to essentially receive a formally established business called Jupiter Coffee Company. And so we got the company, and it was one of those, the way it all worked out, which is for another story for another time on another podcast. It was just such a confirmation. We need to be here. We need to move. This was it. And we made plans, and so we moved down here. We inherit this business, and needed some tweaks. It's still a work in progress. What I love about our coffee is it's really good. So, if you like Starbucks, we're a level above Starbucks. No offense to Starbucks. If you're a fan of like Folgers and, 7-Eleven coffee, might not be for us, or we might not be for you, but we're definitely a premium blend coffee. But our advantage is, and what I love about Jupiter Coffee is, we do white label. We do private label coffee boxes / bags. We actually use boxes versus bags because bags are bad for the environment. They're bad for your health because metal and toxins leak into the beans. And our pledge is to be as clean and eco-friendly and people-friendly as possible. So we use box coffee, 12-ounce boxes, but I can design any type of label that somebody would want on a box. And so we're doing country clubs, real estate offices, brand deals, influencers, people that just have a personal brand, weddings, anything that you could go, hey, could my logo or my face or my picture or whatever be on a box of coffee? The answer is yes. And that's where we are getting into that space, is to be in the private label. White label really is probably the best way to describe it. White label coffee at a premium coffee. So again, not just gross coffee that's cheap and easy. It's very good. Comes from sustainable farms all over the world. And then with your logo on the box. Great gift for people if they want to give gifts to their employees, customers, members, anything like that.
Really creative. And how do people get in touch with you about that? Just text you, or is
Yeah,
there
you
a
can text
different
me
place
too.
for them to go? All right.
No, so we're currently, again, it's a work in progress. We're redoing our website, but it's jupecoffee.com. The Instagram will be completely revamped, and that'll be changing soon, but it's just at Jupe Coffee. And that would be probably the best 2 ways to reach out there. 3 ways: texting, the website, or our Instagram. But texting it's just, at this day and age, it's just easier on me.
All right, perfect. Yeah. Listen, I agree. I think it's the easiest way to keep up with anything. At this point in the show, Vince, I want to transition a bit to common questions that I ask
Yeah,
everybody. Uh, I'm really interested to hear your answers here.
that's good.
So, in terms of your go-to restaurant anywhere in Palm Beach County, where are you going for dinner tonight?
I my daughter's a vegetarian, and I'm very strict gluten-free for some health reasons. So Christopher's Kitchen is one of our go-tos, just because that's um it's healthy. We can all find something to eat there. It's good. I also like top crust pizza here in Jupiter. I'm telling you, there's something about, and they have a great, if you have to be gluten-free, they have a great cauliflower crust that's very good. So we've been digging those 2 places a lot. And then as a coffee person, I'm a big coffee shop guy. And so, Golden Juicery there in Juneau and up in Tequesta. Ethan's the owner there. Great guy, great team. Papa Kwan's, obviously, you can't go wrong with either. I could keep going. We really try to support the local businesses versus chains, if possible.
Right. What other small business outside of restaurants or service provider do you really like?
I would be remiss if I didn't give a couple shout outs to current clients too, right? Local businesses, if you're wanting a photo, Palm Beach native, his name's Jefferson Blakely. What he does, he's a curator of old art. And so he sells these old prints of Palm Beach Island, Jupiter from like the 1950s and 60s. And it's so cool. So it's like this old, like unique style of art that can really like just make a wall pop. So I like that. Blue Line, they're great over there. We like being on the water, so I'm constantly in there. And I think it's just what a vibe to be able to like walk into a place barefoot and just hang out with people where everybody just seems like your friend. Um, so I would say those two right now are just good people that I think of immediately.
Okay. I'm going to give you a bonus question too,
Okay.
because I think that people think summer and they think reading. As kids, we all had summer reading lists. And now as an adult, I think I read a book a week. I
Yeah.
can't get enough. What's your go-to book that you think people should, I see a bunch behind you right now, but
I
what's
know.
the one book that you think people would really enjoy reading this summer?
As I look behind me. Okay. If you're I would have to go. David J. Schwartz wrote a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. And it's one of those books I re-listen to it at the first of every year. I made my kids listen to it and I immediately saw the difference in how they think. I think it's a great book for anybody that wants to challenge their thought process. To go, is there something bigger? And maybe they know. Like I think we all know internally, like I'm meant for more than what I'm doing. That's a great book to get them started. Now, I'm going to throw out another book that's pretty deep. And it's just called Letting Go. And I can look up the artist real quick. But Letting Go, it was a monumental book for me because it was just about surrendering in a way of like, I need to release negative emotions. I want inner peace. I was finding myself resistant to so many things. And this was probably, I don't know, 8 years ago. And so it's David R. Hawkins, Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender. Fantastic book. And I think those two, if you want to go, all right, I know I want to think bigger, think different, Magic of Thinking Big. Or if you're like, man, I'm feeling trapped right now. I'm angry, bitter, a little annoyed every day, Letting Go. Those would be my two.
Fantastic. And Vince, as we wrap up here, just one last time, let's just summarize what you do. So you've got your coaching side, which you say text. What's your number again, just to do the
Yeah.
text in case people didn't pause and they blew through it?
314-478-6888.
And then on the Jupiter Coffee side, I mean, honestly, what a great idea. There's so many businesses out there that nobody needs any more of my kids drive me crazy with the water mugs, like the
Oh
Stanleys, and they
my gosh,
drop it, you
right?
could break a foot, right? But everybody has that. Nobody needs a lot of the normal things that you give away. They want good quality stuff, right? So if they want to order the Jupiter coffee white labeled from their business or from themselves, we're in wedding season. That could be a nice wedding gift
Yes.
for people that come. Just take them through one more time how they would reach out to you there.
Yeah. You can text me again. So that number, you can go on our Instagram, which is at Jupe Coffee, Jup Coffee. Our website, jupecoffee.com. We'll be live. Our goal is July 4th. So right around then, that'll just be revamped where you can place custom orders, upload your logo. We'll have a design team send it or do it, create it, send it over to you, and we'll work with you there. So those three, text, Instagram, or our website.
All right. Well, awesome, Vince. Well, hey, this has been a great episode. I've learned a lot. I hope our audience has learned a lot. I think if anything, we take away Vince is a friend of the Palm Beach Current, and he wants
Right.
to be a friend to everybody else in Palm Beach County too. So Vince, thank you so much for your time.